Hey everyone, Boss Bavak here. I have an update to do of the wines and scotches in my cellar. I'll start with the scotches here. You guys remember the place, the wine cellar. I keep my cigar humidors, my scotches. Firstly, let's take a look at what I've got on the scotch side. So for sort of the daily, and if I'm having a cigar, what I find is I won't use one of my really expensive scotch, drink one of my very expensive single malts when I'm smoking a cigar, just because cigars do blow out your taste buds. So for example, drinking red wine with a cigar makes absolutely no sense. You're not going to taste that thing. I do like a drink. I'd say my two favorite drinks with a cigar is a nice strong coffee or a scotch. And so if I'm having a scotch, I'll probably have like a Balvenie, which is $100 scotch, or I've actually got a Douglas and Lane Macallan upstairs. This year's Scallywag, which unfortunately isn't here, so I'm not going to show it to you now, but I'll have something like that with my scotch, something that's sort of between an $80 to $100 scotch with my cigars, or even just a daily. I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful scotch. Balvenie is one of my favorites. But then what I'm drinking right now, I've always have, as I've told you before, an 18-year-old Glenmorangie. I find it's absolutely beautiful. Just to remind you guys, I'm not a huge peat fan, so you'll find most of my scotches will be Speyside, Highland. If I'm doing peat, I'm more sort of in Campbelltown area, like a Springbank, which is a milder sort of a peat, and even a Highland Park, which I like, and even sort of West Highland, which is now closer to Islay. Which is why it picks up some of those peaty notes, those salt water and smoky sort of flavors. I don't mind those, but they're not my favorite. Even though Johnny Walker Blue has that bit of mild peat to it. So I don't mind the mild peat. I just don't want it to taste like dessert and candy and medicinal sort of hospital flavors, iodine, those sorts of flavors. But I do love a Glenmorangie, and I'm enjoying that right now. In the last video, you saw me working through a Macallan 15. I've always got a bottle of Macallan 15. I'm a big Macallan fan. Remember, I've got some crazy Macallans down here, another crazy Glenmorangie, which I still haven't gotten into yet. This is another Douglas Lane, which they cover a lot of they'll work with. Usually Macallan, this is a 25mm Macallan that they work with to bottle this bottle. And so I've got my 15-year-old Macallan over here, my new one I just replenished recently. So that I'm going through. Another scotch which I really love, again Glenmorangie. Their flagship, they're really up. It's not I wouldn't say necessarily their flagship. I think the 18 is more like their flagship, but the Signet is just a gorgeous scotch. So this is by far the most expensive scotch. You're about $300 a bottle for this guy, and I absolutely love the Signet. Now the Signet is a little bit stronger than your typical Glenmorangie. I think it's about a 46% alcohol. So getting up to cask strength versus your 40 to 43, which is typically where it is. I also got a bottle of I always do like a little bit, as you've seen before, a little bit of Japanese scotch, and this is the Nika as they call it, from the barrel. It's about a 51%, so again goes really well with a cigar. This is about $110, I want to say $120, something like that. But a great whiskey, tastes just like scotch. And what's interesting about it is all the other whiskies are spelled EY, and scotch is the only one spelled Y. There's no E in Scotch whiskey. And the Japanese also drop the E, which is quite interesting, I find. So that's kind of what I'm drinking right now on the Scotch side. Wines, I've picked up a few things recently. I showed you guys my favorite wines, which is Schaefer's Hillside Select. Last time we were together, I showed you the 2014, and I just picked up, how many bottles did I pick up? I just picked up 3 bottles of the 2015. So I've got about an 8 or 9 year vertical there. And I've got sort of the 2016 I'll pick up at some point. That's a perfect 100-point score. So that'll be fun. What else do I have? Yes, I picked up 3 bottles of the Catherine Hall. So Hall Wineries, another beautiful Napa bottle, and the Catherine Hall Napa Valley Cab is their flagship. It's a 2018 vintage, which I really like. I love the 18 and the 19. 19 again, very different to the to the 2018. I find 19 very energetic, lively. You can really drink it young. And 18 is a beautiful, more classic Napa, but a wonderful, wonderful Napa expression. And then I picked up another bottle of Sassicaia. The 18 is a wonderful version of the Sassicaia. And so I picked up the 2018. I just finished on the Scotch side a bottle of the Macallan Rare Cask. Unfortunately, you didn't get to see that in my lineup, but that was really fun. I just opened with my Coravin one of these, a bottle of the 2018 Ruston Frieda Stellenbosch. It's their estate wine, their flagship, and it's a Cabernet Syrah Merlot, which is quite unusual, but gorgeous, beautiful expression of South African wine. And I think, something else I picked up. I wanted to show you guys this over here, which was again a 2021 or 22 Wine Spectator Top 10. I think this was number 6 on the list. So this is Mondavi's Oakville Estate wine. So it's the estates, which is a range that Mondavi makes. This is the Oakville Napa Valley Cabernet. It's the 29 vintage, another beautiful example of Napa's 2019. Again, number 6 on the Wine Spectator Top Wines. I believe it's 2022. Yes, it was 2019 vintage, must have been 22. So it was last year's number 6. So I've got a few of those now. I've got the one I just showed you there. I've got the number 1 on the list, which is the Schrader Cellars, the Double Diamond. The 2019 Tignanello was on that list. The 2018 Colcida Creek was on that list. And there was quite a few others. I've also picked up a nice little bottle. I'm not a big champagne fan, but a nice bottle of Rosé Bollinger, non-vintage of course. I picked up a couple of small bottles just to keep around, because I find that I don't always, even though I've got the Coravin, I don't always want to open a full bottle. So I picked up a few sort of halvesies, and a couple of bottles of French champagne in the halves as well. So that's been fun just to have those around. And then I've had I've picked up a couple of one-offs here and there. Let me see down here. Oh yes, another bottle of Chateau La Mission Haut-Brion. Remember that Haut-Brion is the first growth from France. La Mission Haut-Brion is considered a second growth and is Haut-Brion's second label. It's an absolutely beautiful bottle. I've got a bottle of the 2017 over there, and then this is a bottle of the 2014. Beautiful wine. I absolutely love La Mission Haut-Brion. As you can see here, I recently opened a bottle of the 98, and I believe, oh yeah, there we go, and I had a bottle of the 83 a little while ago. I think I showed you guys the MT. That was sort of in the last 4 or 5 years we opened that bottle. This is a wine I really enjoy. Anything from Haut-Brion, even the Haut-Brion Blanc, their white wine, which I was able to taste a while ago for the first time, was absolutely wonderful. So everyone, hope you enjoyed that, and keep looking, because pretty soon I'm also going to do a quick update on my cigars. Thanks, and have a wonderful day.